Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Troy with Cichlid Bros. In today's video, we are checking out the brand new hang on the back filters from Sicce. These are the Aqua Filtras. They just came out. I'm really excited to unbox these, show them off, and do a quick review on these new filters. So let's dive right in. So right here before me are the three different models of the brand new Aqua Filtra from Sicce. We have the 40, the 20, and the 10. And these are kind of going to be for your smaller aquariums, anything from like a 5-gallon up to maybe a 40-gallon tank. And I'm going to be using these in some of my fish room aquariums, so I'm really excited for that. Also, it is Sicce, and I've used a lot of their products, like their wave makers, their canister filters, and their heaters for many years. So I'm really excited anytime they release a new product, specifically when it comes to filtration. But without further ado, we're going to unbox the Aqua Filtra 40, which I'm going to be putting on a tank in my fish room that is just being set up, so you'll get a sneak peek of that as well. And as I unbox this, we'll talk through some of the features and some of the aspects of this that you'll easily be able to observe. So here is the Aqua Filtra 40, which as you can see is up to about 40 US gallons, and I think that's kind of the maximum if you have a low stocking, maybe a planted aquarium or small fish. I'm going to have a small group of fish in my tank, so I think it's going to be good for a 40-gallon. But you could definitely use this for like a 30 or a 29 and probably have plenty of filtration. But let's go ahead and unbox this and check it out. Of course, one thing that's always great with Sicce is their 5-year warranty on most of their products. And this is what you get in the package. Looks like a couple heater holders and a pre-filter sponge. You have the intake here, and then you have the filter. So here it is. You got the top that comes off, you have the filter cartridge and the sponge back there. This is what turns up or down the flow. This locking mechanism either locks in the tray so you can remove it or keep it down in the filter. And then this top right here obviously goes right on there. It looks like there's only a few quick things that you need to do to set it up. You just put in the intake here, and then you could use this pre-filter sponge here to just place it right on the intake so that if you have small fish, fry in your tank, shrimp, they won't be sucked up into these filters, which I think is always a good thing to have with filters. I don't know why other hang on the back filters don't always come with one of these. So just a couple quick observations here right out of the box. One thing that's an absolute must-have for any hang on the back filter for me is to have the pump inside the tank. And I don't know why some companies design their hang on the back filters with the pump outside the aquarium. Just does not make sense. So it is good to see it here. Another thing you'll notice is just this is a pretty wide spillway when the water flows back down into the aquarium. The dials aren't really bright blue, so they kind of stay out of sight, which is a good thing. And also just right out of the box, this thing is ready to just go on your tank and plug it in. If you remove the lid here, you can see you already have your filter cartridge and media. So it comes with the cartridge with different types of media, coarse sponge back here, and bio and chemical media within the cartridge. This is something that some people may not like. The cartridge itself, with some of the Petco, PetSmart type filters, cartridges are very common for beginners or people that just want to remove the cartridge and put a new one back in. But if you don't want to use the cartridge, you could take this out and you could definitely set up your own media within the back basket of this. So I understand why they use the cartridges, especially for someone just buying a small tank at a big box store. This makes it really easy for them, but I in the future will probably tweak the filter media. And then on the top of the lid here there's a slot which is supposed to improve oxygenation in your aquarium. And on the side you'll see this little lock, and if you push it to unlock, the whole filter basket comes out. So I like that feature. You can be able to clean this really easily. You could take out the whole tray, move it to your sink or your water source and clean it out. Just put it right back on and lock. And the last part to set this up is putting your pre-filter on there if you elect to use that. Then you have this piece here that just slides in the top, which will raise up if your filter gets clogged or gunked up, and it signifies that you need to clean it. It comes with this little extension for your intake if you want it to go lower in the aquarium. It also comes with these two pieces here, which are heater holders shaped to the size of Sicce heaters, which is going to be nice for me because I use so many of them. And you would just slide it right on here, and then you could put your filter right there with it, which is really nice. And the last little piece here is meant to go right behind the aquarium, and you could twist this to make sure it sits flush behind the tank at the right angle that you need, so you can easily twist that there. Really easy assembly. Let's go ahead and put it on the tank and check out what it looks like. So I've had two Aqua Filtras running for a couple weeks on my new 40-gallon breeder tank here. This is the Aqua Filtra 40, and then this is the Aqua Filtra 10 running on my 10-gallon quarantine tank, both of which are new tank setups that you'll see in future videos. But what I've really enjoyed so far about the Aqua Filtras is they are super quiet. The way the water comes down the spillway right at the water level, there's no trickling sound, but it is still oxygenating that water through surface agitations. So I would say the noise and just being super quiet is an absolute win. Some of the other hang on the back filters from other brands have been very noisy, especially after they run for a few months and get some gunk or buildup in the filter. The Fluval Aqua Clear is definitely one that makes a lot of noise because the pump is on the outside of the aquarium and the lids were rattling all the time. And I know they just did a complete redesign of that hang on the back filter, but it did not solve the full noise issue in my opinion. In comparison to the Sicche Tidal series, which I've said many times is my favorite hang on the back filter on the market, even that can get pretty noisy if your water level drops a bit. That surface skimmer makes a ton of noise. And speaking of that surface skimmer, it does reduce the width of the spillway on the Tidal series, whereas on the Aqua Filtra, that spillway is much wider, providing a much easier flow and trickle down into the aquarium. I also never really liked the skimmer on the Tidals. That's kind of a nitpick because I still really like the Tidals, but definitely not needed. And without that skimmer, you also get the centered pump and the centered spillway, which I think is a definite plus on the Aqua Filtra. And one of the most important things to me when it comes to a hang on the back filter is the pump being self-priming. So the Aqua Filtra, just like the Tidal, has the pump inside the water, which not only reduces noise and vibrations because that water dulls the sound, but also if you lose power or you turn on and off your filter, you don't have to pour cups of water in the back of the filter. They are self-priming and they will kick right back on. So if you're gone and you lose power, you don't have to worry about your filters kicking back on at any time. And of course, if that pump is in the box of the filter outside the tank, you're going to hear it a little more. There's some design flaws with possible leaking. So I never understand when a company would elect to put it outside the aquarium. I would never buy a hang on the back filter that has that feature. And again, that's one of the Aqua Clear's biggest issues to me. But the Aqua Filtra having a centered pump that's self-priming in the water is all big wins for me when it comes to hang on the back filter. These filters also fit a gap, I think, that was in the marketplace when it comes to smaller tanks with hang on the back filters. The Sicche Tidal 35 was probably my go-to in the past for something like a 20, 30, or 40 gallon tank, but even those have some limitations and might even be too big for some of your smaller tanks. Also, the Sicche 35 doesn't have the intake tube, so that's kind of a weird thing. I love the Tidal 55, 75, and 110, but for smaller tanks, these Aqua Filtras would be perfect. Like I said, I have the Aqua Filtra, just one of them on a 40-gallon breeder. The stocking is really light with just some really small fish right now. If I had a really heavily stocked Mbuna tank or something, I would maybe double up the filter. But for now, I think the 40 is pretty good on a 40-gallon tank and would be definitely sufficient for something like a 30 or 33, whereas the Aqua Filtra 20 could definitely be in that 10, 15, 20 gallon range and would be a really good option for you. The Aqua Filtra 10 could obviously be used for a 10 gallon tank. I'm going to use those for all my 10 gallon tanks in the future, I think, because they are definitely adequate for that tank size, and they could also be used for something in that 5 to 10 gallon range if that's what you're looking for. And one of the last big wins I've seen with this filter so far is the ease of cleaning and just being able to slide that lock button and just take out the full box and clean it out. And because of the flow going around and then straight through the media, nothing will accumulate in the box that's still hanging on the tank. That's always been an issue with my Sicche Tidals. You can take out the full box and clean out your media, but once you put it back in, there's still a ton of debris and poop that is accumulated in the box of the filter, and that always sprays out whenever you turn the filter back on. And that shouldn't happen with the Aqua Filtra because the entire box of media and everything flowing in it is contained in the actual box you remove from the filter when you clean it. So I think that's a really nice feature compared to the other hang on the backs out there. The Aqua Clear, the Tidal, Marine Lands, they all would kick that dirt back into the tank after a cleaning, which was always frustrating. When it comes to the reliability of these filters, it's something I can't really touch on right now because I am just starting to use them. Only a few weeks with no issues, but I have used so many other Sicce products that I am pretty comfortable that these filters are going to last a long time. And there's also a 5-year warranty on these products like many of the other Sicce products, so that's why I would say it's probably a positive in the reliability aspect, even though I haven't had a long-term use out of these yet. And then just to change gears into potential drawbacks of these filters and why they may not fit for you, first off, I would say just the sizes of them. They're all for smaller tanks, so if you have something above maybe a 55 or 60 gallon tank, you could either use 240s or just elect to go with a canister or something bigger for your tank. I would love to see these in bigger sizes down the line. I also know that Sicce is working on a massive upgrade to the canister filter marketplace, so I cannot wait for that to come, hopefully later in the year. I'm hoping they roll out bigger Aqua Filtras in the future, but for the time being, they are kind of for your smaller aquariums. And I bet there's already been someone that has commented down below before even getting to this part of the video about the cartridges. Most people will elect to DIY their filtration media, and you can absolutely do that for these filters as well. The cartridges come in extra packs, so when these are for sale at Petco or PetSmart or other stores, you can buy the cartridges just to easily remove and put them back in whenever they need a cleaning. And that's really good for beginners, or if you just want to have it all in one place, but you are spending more money on the cartridges. So if you do want to DIY these, you can. It comes with the big blue sponge, which you can easily take off and wring out and get more use out of that sponge for much longer. And then the cartridge itself, it does come apart, and you can see some bio and chemical media that are really fine pieces of rocks that are inside the actual cartridge, and you can remove that or keep that. And then there's the fine wool pad, which you could definitely remove and have your own filter floss like I have in a lot of other tanks. So if you do that occasionally during your cleanings, you could probably get away without buying the cartridges at all. Just use the media and the DIY media that you are using, wash that out, and you should be good to go. On the flip side, if you do use the cartridges, it is going to be probably the optimal flow through the filter with very limited bypass. That's what they were engineered to do within this filter. So if you are going to DIY your own media in the filter, just definitely take that into account. One other thing to note is it is just a hang on the back filter, so you are going to see it above your tank just like any other hang on the back. So just know if it's right for your aquarium setup or not, if maybe you should go a different route with a sponge filter or a canister filter. All of those are up to your own aquarium setup, so just definitely keep that in mind. So another drawback of these filters, which is just a temporary one, is that they are not available yet in North America. They should be by mid to late August. They are available in Europe already, but you will find them in the US and North America on shelves in about 3 weeks from the posting of this video. I will also leave an Amazon link as soon as that goes live down in the description and a pinned comment. And I will probably also reshare this video to make sure you have the link if it is something that you're interested in. And also the price point, they will be competitive, I've heard, but I don't know exactly what they will be in North America, so keep an eye out for that as well. So yeah, that pretty much does it for the overview on the Sicce Aqua Filtra. I hope you enjoyed seeing the filter, something that's brand new to the market, coming out in a few weeks in North America. And if you have any questions about this filter, leave those down in the comment section below. I will be happy to help if I can. But thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.